Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Recruiting Board. I'm here with one of the top offensive linemen for the class of 2026, Darius Gray. He is coming out of the state of Virginia, where he's considered to be one of, if not the top prospect out of the class of 2026 in the state. And he also represents St. Christopher's School in Richmond. Darius, how's it been going, my man?
It's been great. It's been great. Just blessed for everything. So just constantly keep pushing and, just keep working.
I know you've had a pretty busy summer so far. What have you been doing during the off season?
Honestly, just working out, taking a few camping, going out and competing and just getting better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And one of the things I was watching your film. It's a pretty good film. You were all staying both on the offensive line and the defensive line, and you seemed really fast and really agile. And then I was actually going through your Twitter the other day, and I found out you're a pretty good basketball player yourself. I was like, that's probably where he gets the agility from. So, I mean, so how has basketball helped you with your skills on the field?
It's helped me a lot, honestly. Just being able to stay light on my feet, being able to move. I think that's the most important thing in basketball. You have to do that all game. So, when you play basketball, it automatically helps you a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And let's talk about your busy summer. I know recently, I believe it was this past week, you were actually at LSU and you ended up getting an offer from LSU. Kind of describe what happened during your time in Baton Rouge.
It was great. So I had camp. I was able to get coached, get better, and yeah. So one-on-ones came, and they were seeing if I was able to move, etc. So I just had a great time, honestly. And after that, I was blessed to receive an offer. So just growing this connection with them and just keep getting closer.
Mm-hmm. And Brad Davis is considered one of the top offensive line coaches in the country. Describe what he was telling you at the camp and any advice he may have given you.
Honestly, he was just he was coaching. Nowadays everybody coaches like when you're run blocking a wide base, but he was teaching to just run, like you run a 40-yard dash. And I think that was the most important thing because a natural habit is always just run. But when you get coached over and over to, widen that base a little bit, it changes. So, I was just able to learn a few new things and, I just had a great time, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know another school that you've shown interest in is Clemson. I know you got the offer from them not too long ago. But kind of describe your visits to Clemson because I know a lot of times these visits to Clemson are pretty wild just because the facilities are now really, really nice. I know the coach staff does a great job of building relationship with recruits. So kind of talk about your visits to Clemson.
Oh, it was great. So when I went up there in March, I was up there in March and, it was all academics almost, mostly it was all academics. So honestly, just seeing how much they care about it, and them having Paul journey some for their players after football, is very important to somebody like me. So
Hmm. And talk about what have you gotten a chance to meet with Dabo?
yes, sir.
What's he like, kind of off the cameras? Because I know we see him on the cameras all the time, but kind of describe what he's like when he's just with you guys.
Oh yeah, so it like I said, it's Clemson. Everybody there is, they brighten up a room, enjoyable to be around. And Coach Sweeney, he's the head man, so of course he has that as well. So, just being around Coach Sweeney, he's a great dude. Him, Coach Luke, everybody there. So
Hmm. Yeah, and another school I know that you're very much interested in is Florida State. Florida State is obviously coming off of a huge, huge year last year where they finished the regular season undefeated. Unfortunately, they didn't make the playoff, which is some stuff that happened out of their control. But talk about the vibe at Florida State as a recruit, just due to the fact that they've kind of had a resurgence in the last couple of years.
this is great. Honestly, they had a great year this year, regardless making it or not. They had a great year, and so honestly, Coach Atkins, he's a great dude. I mean, he's literally, we fit together so well. So honestly, him, Coach Gabe, all of them over there, so it's exciting to be recruited by coaches like that, guys like that, and just surrounding a room. And I'll be up there in July, so it will be fun.
Mhm. And the neat thing about Coach Atkins, I know I'm talking about Alex Atkins for you guys who are watching or listening. He's actually an offensive line coach, and you don't really see much office coordinators that are also offensive line coaches. So, was he talked about you in terms of the scheming of the offense, and considering the fact that he's an offensive line coach, and that may benefit you?
Oh yeah, it would definitely. So honestly, we still growing to see where I will fit best because I'm still only 16. So being able to they understand that I'm still growing and getting bigger. So probably around next year I'll know for sure a better answer. But right now probably interior, but with my arm length I could play a little bit tackle as well.
Oh yeah, and let's move on to the next school. That's on your list. I mean, you got 37 offers, so we can only talk about a few. But Georgia is one of the top programs, of course, in the country. They've won the national championship 2 out of the last 3 years, and are pretty much, in a lot of people's eyes, the top program in college football right now. Describe your visit to Georgia, and then also, what are your feelings about Georgia as a recruit? Because I know last year you weren't thinking to yourself, "Oh, I'm just a pretty good football player. I got a few offers," but then all of a sudden, a team like Georgia offers you.
Yeah. So honestly, yeah, I would start with the end. The expectation of Georgia offering was great. So honestly, being able to be recognized by a school like that we all grew up watching and favoritism, and it was great. So you know, the visit when I was there in March, it was great. It was fantastic, and I was able to watch their practice, and they practice hard, and I definitely understand why they win a lot of games. So, but besides that, the coaches there are great as well. So when the time's over, it'll be a hard decision because all these guys are great people. So
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's kind of the hard thing about once you get near the end, it's kind of hard to pick your school because all these coaches and the players are great to you. It's kind of that's a hard choice to have, but luckily you have another year to make that choice, so you got still got plenty of time. But let's talk about the next school that I want to talk about is Michigan. Michigan, of course, is the defending national champions, but they're kind of going through a bit of a transition, going to a bit of a transition year. Coach Harbaugh leaves for the NFL, and then you have Coach Moore stepping up as the new head coach of Michigan. What's your relationship like with Coach Moore from your time getting recruited by them as an assistant, and then also, um, what has impressed you the most about Michigan so far throughout this process?
what impressed me most, honestly, the Ohio State game. The biggest rivalry I would say in college football, and Coach Harbaugh is suspended. So Coach Moore came as the head coach, and he was able to pull out the win. So I think that's the most impressive thing. And now that he has a head coach job, I'm not worried at all about them, going on the downhill or downslope. I'm just, very excited for him, and I'm happy to see what he do. And it's so important that he was previously a line coach, and that's what I play. So now that he's the head coach, you know, he takes real good care of his offensive linemen. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. And the next one I want to talk about is Notre Dame. Of course, Notre Dame's coming off a pretty good year. I mean, I know they didn't really reach the expectations that they wanted, but they're still coming off a 10-win season. Notre Dame was led by Coach Freeman, who's known to be a hell of a players coach. So, what's your relationship like with Coach Freeman?
Oh, it's great. Um, Coach Freeman, a great guy. He's a great guy. But most importantly, like I said, it's that old line room. And Coach Rudolph, I could say so much about him. He's one of the best dudes I've ever been around. Since when he was at VT, now over there at Notre Dame. He's honestly just, a fantastic guy. And, he's very smart for the position. So,
Hmm. Yeah, and speaking of smart, I know Notre Dame's is
uh,
a very heavy academic institution. But you're used to the academics because you go to one of the top private
mhm.
schools in State Virginia. So how's your the academics at your school, the school you're currently attending right now, will help you prepare for a school like Notre Dame? If you do end up making your decision to go to Notre Dame.
It helped a lot because school is very hard where I go, so it is over the college level. A lot of people say when they graduate, and when a lot of guys go to college from St. Chris, they say it's so much more easier. So honestly, there's no pressure at all because I know St. Chris will prepare me pretty well, and so you know that doesn't bother me at all.
Hmm. And I know you're very high in South Carolina. Tell me about South Carolina. What has impressed you so far?
It's great. The coaches there are fantastic. The people there, the players there, everything about South Carolina is great. And I'm going back up there in July, so I'm just excited for it.
And what's your relationship like with Coach Beamer?
Oh, it's great. That's my guy right there. It's fantastic. I mean, I love that man a lot, and honestly, what he does for his players, for his team, for his coaches, for his family, it means a lot. And to play for a guy like that would mean everything.
hmm And another school that's I know that's very high on your list is Tennessee. Talk about your visits to Tennessee and what you've seen from them so far.
Oh, the visit's been great. I recently just camped there, and to be coached by Coach Ellaby and Coach KP and Coach Lab, it was great. So honestly, I love them a lot, and that's family. So I love being there. I love getting invited there and communicating with them. So honestly, I'm just taking it day by day with them and keep on growing this connection because it's real tight.
Have you been to a game at Neyland?
Oh yeah, I've been when they played Georgia. It was
Okay.
loud on their first play of the game.
hmm
Oh
I
yeah.
got you. Yeah, it's easily one of the top atmospheres in all of college football. So Ohio State is another school that's high on your list. I know you talked about their biggest rival, Michigan. But what has impressed you the most about Ohio State so far throughout this process?
So yeah, so I recently just camped there as well, and being coached was the way I was coached was very well. I think I learned so many things, and you know, those are great people. Coach Fry, Coach Mike, Coach Day, and the players. The way they interact with each other was very important. They were all out there at the camp as well, and they were just excited to be around football. So that was important.
Ohio State year in and year out is one of the top schools in terms of producing guys on the offensive line, the defensive line. So that's another big time school in terms of producing offensive linemen. I can see why
Oh yeah.
you have them so high on your list. Also, Notre Dame. I also want to mention Notre Dame also is like that as well. But I know the last school I want to talk about with you is Penn State. Penn State has had a lot of success getting kids out of the state of Virginia. But yeah, I mean, just kind of looking in the past. But what's impressed you the most about Penn State?
What impressed me most, honestly, is I've been up there, a lot of times, and it's so many things that impress me. And honestly, Coach Franklin, I think he's, one of the greatest guys I've ever been around. Him, Coach Chartwin, recruiting coordinators, whoever it may be. And honestly, what impressed me most is the way that they are so passionate about the game of football. I think, I mean, they're so excited to be out there to practice, be out there to, play games and, that whiteout. So
Yeah.
it's very well. And Penn State is, such a great school. So,
hmm Another thing about Penn State is that I know it's a college town,
mhm.
and there's a lot of towns like that in Virginia. I know there's kind of like it may be in the middle of nowhere, but then you get closer and closer to town, and oh wow, this is a pretty nice place. But how is there any similarities between where State College is located and to where you're located? Because I know Richmond is in the middle of the state, and it's kind of like State College in some ways.
Yeah, definitely. But I'll say Penn State is definitely more, way more college station than, a high school station here. So, but
Right.
yeah, without a doubt, college station, football is everything. Richmond, you still have side quests and things like that, but at Penn State, football, oh yeah, that means a lot to them. So it's a big
hmm
difference. Not too many similarities.
hmm And this is my very last question. I know with everything going on, it's been a huge. And you could probably easily have 50 to 60 offers by the end of your junior year. So, how have you dealt with this just new stage of your life where you just have coaches contact you day in and day out? And I know, I think a couple of days ago they just allowed coaches to start contacting you guys again. So, how have you dealt with that? And then also, how have you allowed it to not distract you when the season starts, and then also when school starts? Because I know your schoolwork is very important, especially at a school like St. Christopher's.
Oh yeah. So honestly, not thinking about it, so much. And I know that's like it might be a little weird thing to say, but like once we get off this call, I wouldn't think about any of the colleges, any of that, unless somebody texts me or whatever the case might be. So honestly, it's just understanding that my goal is not just to make college football. I'm trying to get way past that. I'm trying to be one of the best to ever do it. So if I get stuck up here on college football, that goal would never come true. So honestly, just staying humble. That's my favorite part. I hate besides this, I would never, like, if I see you on the street, I would never bring it up, never throw it in your face, whatever the case might be. And there's a lot of kids out here that do that, but me, you would never know. I would never bring it up or anything like that. So honestly, I think that's just very important to just understand the bigger goal and just getting better. I mean, honestly, I still have 2 more years, so understanding that anything can happen in these 2 years. So all I have to do is trust God, work as hard as I can, just get better, and that's my mindset every day.
Mhm. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. Your host Grant Chachere. This wraps up another episode of the Recruiting Board. I would like to thank Darius for hopping on. I know he's got someplace to go, so I'm grateful that you hopped on, Darius. Great to
Thank you,
meet you, and
thank you,
also
great to meet you.
make sure to like this video and also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then also make sure to follow Rougarou Sports Media wherever you like to go on social media. So we're out everywhere. So thanks again, Darius. I hope you have a good one.
Thank you, you
No
too.
problem.